Well, hey everybody, good evening. Welcome into the show tonight. I'm Jessica Jones. I'm the Cryptid Huntress. And boy, do I have another great show for us tonight. You guys, I have my good friend, Matthew Delph, in the studio tonight. He's also known as the Badass Monster Hunter. And you're going to see why as soon as we get this show started today. Matt and I have been friends for quite a while now, at least 2 or 3 years. Okay, it seems like forever. It seems like way longer than that. But we go out in the woods and we chase Bigfoots and other cryptids around them woods together. Okay, so Matt has done extensive research all over the South, all over the country, and he has definitely covered Louisiana, where we are headed tonight, with the Honey Island Swamp Monster. This was tasked to me as a remote viewing target, and we're going to get into that tonight, plus a lot of other cryptids down in Louisiana. All right, so buckle up, y'all. We're in for another wild ride tonight. If you guys would like to follow along with all of my shows, I have a website. That's the cryptidhuntress.com, where you can find all of my shows and all of the events that I'm going to be at, including I've got conferences coming up in Florida in July, and I also have the Spaced Out Radio Fan Party. That's going to be in Reno, Nevada next month. So I think that's it. I think that's all the things I have on there, but I don't remember. Okay, so y'all go to my website and check that out. Also, I have all of my data posted for this remote viewing target and all of the other ones on my Patreon. And so you guys go check that out. You can become a member there at the Cryptid Huntress on Patreon. Shout out to all of my members. I love you guys. Thank you so much for all your support. Also, I do have a shop on Etsy that's called War Woman Goods. You get free Cryptid Huntress merch with every purchase. Cases. Please just let me know that you watch my shows when you make a purchase, and I will be sure to include something with the Cryptid Huntress on it, okay, to go in your bag. All right, so thank you guys so much for your support. Well, oops, this is Matt's. I didn't mean to pull this up, but this is Matt's Bigfooting group. His cryptid group is called MECRO, the Mountain Empire Cryptid Research Organization. So you guys go check him out over on Facebook, and we'll talk about that at the end of the show. He's also got a YouTube channel. It's Matthew Delph on YouTube. And yeah, so you guys, let's talk about this wild cryptid, okay? And we're gonna get into a lot of details tonight, because I've already given you guys some kind of how-tos on tracking, animal tracking. We've looked into different animal tracks when we were talking about the attacks, the unspecified animal attacks up in North Carolina with Brenda Hamilton. I was showing you guys the difference between dog tracks and cat tracks. Well, tonight we've got the Honey Island Swamp Monster tracks. And these things are anomalous, to say the least. Okay, and the beast is described as looking like a Sasquatch kind of, but the tracks are webbed feet. They look reptilian in a way, and some people say that they've been disproved, and they're actually alligator tracks. Okay, so we're going there right now. Let's see. Let me give you guys an overview of exactly what we're talking about tonight. The Honey Island Swamp Monster inhabits the dense and remote Honey Island Swamp in southeastern Louisiana. It's an elusive bipedal humanoid covered in shaggy hair or fur with glowing yellow or red eyes, and it has enormous size and strength. It looks like a Bigfoot, but the webbed foot castings appear to be more reptile-like. Sightings have occurred since at least the 1960s, and there have been numerous accounts of sightings and encounters with the Honey Island Monster by fishermen, hunters, and swamp dwellers. Some believe the Honey Island monster could be a hybrid or a mutant creature resulting from genetic anomalies or environmental factors. Now, some people claim they think that the Honey Island swamp monster is a primate that escaped from a circus back in the day and just adapted to the swamp environment. But what exactly is this? We're going to find out today. I have remote viewed this as a target, and I do have the badass monster hunter himself here, Matthew Delph. He is with MECRO, the Mountain Empire Cryptid Research Organization. He heads that up, and he's also out there doing research with my team and our team. He's on my team too. Anomalous Studies and Observation Group, Enigma Research Group, North Georgia Cryptid Researchers. He's out there. He's doing his thing. Please help me welcome to the show my friend, Matthew Delph. Hey, Matt.
Can you hear me?
Well, hey, thank you for being here. I sure can.
Glad to be here.
Well, good. Okay, thank you for being here. All right, Matt. Well, you have been traveling all over the place lately, and I see Jamie in the chat over here too, with Red Ribbon Spirit Work. You guys have been traveling all over the country lately, doing some cryptid research, and you are one of the most badass cryptid researchers that I know. Seriously, right?
Yeah, we've been, just not here recently. We stayed the night in Area 51. We've been to Death Valley in California. Been to Arizona, Grand Canyon. We've been everywhere, all over the place. So yeah, I get around quite a bit. Boots on the ground, straight right to the scene of the crime.
The scene of the crime. Well, okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about the Honey Island swamp monster. Now, have you been to Louisiana? I know you have because Jamie's from there. Have you done any cryptid research down in Louisiana?
I've been all over Louisiana. I've been to, have not actually been to Honey Island yet. I know yet. I drove through there. You cross the Pearl River there, New Orleans. I crossed through there whenever I was going to New Orleans Vampire. And but I've been to everywhere else around there. All the, your major stuff like on the west side of Louisiana. You got the Sabine River, Bean Fang. Farther up north, around Caddo Lake, Louisiana, Bigfoot, all the way to what is that? I butcher all these names on Louisiana. I'll tell you, I butcher them all. So it's something national forest. They got wild horses out there. It's pretty cool. But there's a lot of Bigfoot sightings out there. We've been through there. We've been all over the place. Now, the Honey Island swamp monster is what actually brought me to the interest in the Pearl River there. It's like probably about 40 miles from New Orleans. And Dana Holyfield, it was her grandfather that got the whole thing started. And of course, I know Dana Holyfield. I've talked to her. I've had her on the show. But yeah, we've been all over Louisiana, of course.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I've been to Louisiana. When I went to Louisiana, I was in New Orleans, and I was very much aware of the vampires. Like you've actually done some vampire hunting down there and studying the vampires. That's a real thing. But also we hear about the rougarou. Okay, and that's a type of a werewolf. Am I right?
Yeah. It's okay. Some people say, of course, it comes from France. You got the loup-garou, but the name transformed once it got to Louisiana. So they call it the rougarou. Well, the rougarou, this is the funny thing is, supposedly they used it to people that was, the Lent, stuff like that, and the religious beliefs that they used to, they would tell kids, the rougarou will get you, supposedly somebody that's been cursed. And there's a story about 101 days. It will be cursed for 101 days. Now, the funny thing is, this cracks me up the most about all this. The rougarou, it's supposed to be scared of frogs. Now, you're in the swamp and all these frogs. I thought that was funny. But even the funniest thing is, these things are not supposed to be able to count past 12. So one way to protect yourself against one, they said, put 13 pennies outside of your house. So the rougarou will stop and count them, and he can't count past 12, so he just stays there and keeps counting. And I mean, that to me, that's probably about the most. That's hilarious. I mean, what would you think? You went outside, or in the middle of the night, you look out and you see this big werewolf. He's sitting there scratching his head, and he's counting pennies, and he keeps getting stuck on 13. I don't know where that came from, or what it's all about on that. But they say put rice out there, he'll get. He can only count so far. But yeah, there's a lot of it's your modern day dogma. What people see around here, but there's more religious background to it, especially with the around Flint and people that have been cursed, and or they something to do, or they hunt down people that don't do their own religious thing with Flint or whatever. I'm not real familiar with Flint, but it's supposed to be real.
Oh yeah. Okay. Super. Well, that's right. So from what I understand, down in Louisiana, down in New Orleans, especially, and yes, we do. It's the lougarou and the rougarou, from what I understand. And down in Louisiana, it is very spiritual. It's not just in the 3D. Okay, so we're talking about shapeshifters. Okay, like vampires can be shapeshifters, right? And so it does have a religious connotation, because there's a lot of voodoo going on down there and black magic, right, Matt?
Yeah, definitely. The energy, as soon as you get in there, like I stayed at French Quarter when I went there, and the St. Pierre is where I stayed at, where all the blues players, stuff like that. The very first moment I got in there, and the parking is horrible there, so I had to pay like $50 to park in this parking place. And I finally get to the St. Pierre. It's raining, it's nasty, and as soon as I start to go into my room, the woman unlocked the door, and at the time I was on the telephone to a friend of mine, and I walked in the room, and I'm on the phone to her, and I'm like, yeah, I just got in my room, and this footprint up here, a bare footprint on the floor, wet, barefoot print. I mean, I was like, what the heck? I'm like, there's a footprint just appeared. She's like, what? Is it yours? I'm like, that was not mine. I got my shoes on. I just come in the room. I said, you heard me, just come in here. So I said, here, I'll take a picture of it. Put my foot next to it, show them, size comparison. Well, it disappeared. Then all of a sudden, the door pops open. My door pops open. And it was kind of crazy. So that right there set the whole tone right from the get-go. But my whole adventure down there was, of course, for the vampire lore. I had to check out everything that's going on. The dungeon. You've heard about the dungeon down there.
Yeah. Okay. Look, the audience is having a little bit of a hard time hearing you now. I did turn your mic up a little bit, so just get as close as you can to that phone, man. Okay. There you go. Yes, way better. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Okay. So thank you guys. I see all the comments. I totally pay attention to the chat. Okay. And so Matt, yeah, because listen, everything you have to say is super important, because you are my resident expert on the Honey Island swamp monster. Okay. So we got to really dig into this one tonight too. Now, not only is there the Honey Island swamp monster in that area, but we also have in the same area, let's see, I've got a map of some of the scary paranormal stuff. Okay. And by scary, I mean just paranormal. Okay. So we have like the Myrtles Plantation. Now that's a very well-known, famous haunted house in Louisiana. Have you made it to the Myrtles Plantation yet?
No, but it is definitely on our schedule.
Okay. Man, that's somewhere I want to go.
It's supposed to be a birthday present for Jamie's daughter to stay there at one of them places. And I think the Myrtles Plantation is one of our choices.
Okay, perfect. All right, then we got the Honey Island Swamp Monster. So this is just a little map so you guys can see where we're talking about in Louisiana. There's also something called the Grunch. Okay, we're going to get into the Grunch tonight because that's a new one for me. I've never heard of the Grunch before, Matt. Have you?
No, I've never heard of it until you mentioned it. But okay,
Okay.
something to notice on that map brought up. Look at the Honey Island location. Wildlife preserves. You notice that? Anywhere you have activity, a strange activity, there's always a wildlife preserve or some sort of a government controlled area. There's always something close to most of your area.
Yep.
And that Honey Island is nothing but that. So
That's right.
all around there's nothing but wildlife preserves.
Yeah, well, Matt, where you and I go and do our research, and we do the same research in the same areas with the same people and stuff. We're out there together. Some of our research areas, not all of them, but a lot of them are national parks and state parks, and for some reason, there's a lot more activity at these federal lands that are owned by our government than just people's, private property for some reason. Wonder why that is.
We know what that is. But
We know why that is.
Just for the people that's out there listening, areas that you want to look if you want activity, if you actually want to go out and look for activity, I'll give you a prime example. There's a place right now I'm getting ready to investigate. It's in state Mississippi. First thing I noticed was deer were out by the interstate. They're looking back to the woods. They didn't care about the traffic going along the interstate, right? Then, so I'm thought, okay, that's weird. What's in the woods that's keeping them, occupied when they could care less about a car going 80 miles an hour past their head. Then, notice a rest area closed. So I'm like, So then, of course, I tell my girlfriend Jamie, I'm like, hey, look up. I said, I guarantee it. Check this out. I'm like, look up national parks, campgrounds around this area. I said, I'm going to tell you what they're going to be. They're going to be all closed. Brings them all up. Every single one of them are closed. Then I'm like, next step, okay. She said, oh, wait, there's one open. And she's like, never mind. The road to it is closed. I'm like, so they cut off all access. Then I said, you know what the next thing's going to be? A controlled burn. Next time I went through there, guess what there was? Controlled burn. But so all this stuff is linked together, all these wildlife reserves, campgrounds, all that stuff. So
Okay.
if you notice a campground, park, anything, and it's closed or whatever, then there's probably something going on.
Okay, so we're on spring break this week, Matt. My little man, he and I, I had to go do something with him because it's spring break, right? And Mama's got shows. Okay, so we didn't really go anywhere, other than I took him animal tracking on Monday, and I know I posted it all on Tuesday, like I was there on Tuesday. I was actually there on Monday. I don't tell anybody where I'm going, y'all. Okay, to my audience, Matt, that's a safety precaution. Okay.
Yeah.
But I was out there on Monday, and at one of our spots where you've been, and all the gates were closed. And it could be because it's Easter. Easter was on Sunday, but it was just odd that, it's a beautiful day. The weather's nice. But they were also doing controlled burns, I think, because I could smell the smoke after a while. But we got buzzed by a helicopter. It like buzzed right over our heads like a low flying helicopter that day, Matt, as we hiked in, because we had to hike into this area. So that was weird. Yeah.
Which doesn't surprise me. So.
No, because we have Bigfoot activity there. All right. Well, let's get into this Honey Island Bigfoot. Okay, because this is federal land. There's going to be OPSEC. That's right, Cryptoville. Thank you. We abide by OPSEC on our teams, right, Matt? So,
yeah.
But that's a real thing. Okay, so this is on federal land. All right, it's more government land, and the first sighting of this Honey Island swamp monster, I think it goes back for a long time, probably. But there was a gentleman who actually got some castings back in the 1960s, and I think it's his granddaughter, right? Is her name Dana? Because I have been mistaken for Dana before. Somebody thought I was her, so I've never met her before.
Harlan Ford, 1962, I believe it was the year he had his first sighting, and he made casts in 1974. Now, I know as you're going to bring up these casts or whatever, an alligator, I want the audience to keep in mind, alligator front feet have 5 toes, and they have claws on the first 3 toes. Their back feet have 4 toes, and they're on like the first couple toes, it's claws. Now, he had supposedly the wildlife and conservation people look at these, and they cannot determine what they were. So I can't tell if you can see the toenails or claw marks in any of those.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, yeah, that's looks very similar to a lot of people are saying a alligator track.
It does. It
Now,
does. Yeah.
but you've also got that monkey. I forget what the name of it is. It's something weird.
Proboscis.
Yes, proboscis. There you go. Now, it's got webbed feet, and it's very similar to that, is it not? Now, most primates cannot swim, but that one can. And these reports of the Honey Island swamp monster, they have webbed feet, but it can swim. It was Dana Holyfield, her dad, actually hit into the Honey Island swamp monster in a boat, and it was immersed in the water. And there's been several witnesses that have talked about it running, jumping into the water, going underwater. So whatever this bipedal creature is, they can swim, unlike most primates.
Okay, well, that is so interesting because this blind target that I did. The data is really lining up with what you're talking about too here. Now, when I heard about the Honey Island swamp monster, I was thinking, well, what if there's some sort of interesting reptilian hybrid Sasquatch? Okay, now is that too far fetched, Matt?
Nothing is too far fetched. I mean, look at those tracks. If you look back, okay, I've been to the Everglades with David Shealy, and his tracks and David Shealy's tracks are 4 toes. These are 3 toes with a possible like dew claw. If you look at that primate, that monkey that can swim that we just showed, I butchered his name again, but
Proboscis,
yeah, there you go.
I think.
Got that one extra toe like a dew claw. It could look like a dew claw, but it does have webbed feet, and a primate with webbed feet. So, and the wildlife, supposedly Department of Natural Resources, the wildlife area there, said they could not identify those tracks. Now, some of them could be misidentified as alligator, but from talking to eyewitnesses around all through the whole state of Louisiana, there's definitely they are seeing a bipedal creature in that area. Whether the tracks line up to that or if it's misidentification, we don't know, but there is a lot of people are seeing a bipedal creature in that area, and most of them are reporting that they can swim. So your whole hybrid thing kind of links together.
Well, okay. Well, earlier I had mentioned that some locals just assumed, well, maybe, because there's always people that you got to try to figure out what this is, because you hear there's all these tracks. Well, when somebody, okay, so Barry posted something on my Facebook today that was like, he's the one that posted this picture questioning. He said that it had been proven to be fake. Okay, like these tracks have been proven. Well, they were alligator tracks. Well, I think that could be. I think some of these might be alligator prints. I don't know. They look kind of small, but however, I don't know if they've been proven. I don't know, because when you're going to hear my data for this target tonight, I don't personally think that this could be like a reptilian mix with a Sasquatch. I think that there's something, I think that it could be something, with like this monkey with webbed feet. We hear about aquatic Sasquatches, right? I mean, I've heard of them. People seeing Sasquatches swimming, not to be confused with Otterman in the Kushtaka, okay, up in Alaska and Canada. But we do hear about aquatic Sasquatches, right, Matt? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, well, it's like we were talking, look at a chimpanzee and stuff. Their body proportions do not allow them they can't swim. Gorillas, they have to be taught how to swim. They're just like humans. So, but you have that one monkey with webbed feet that actually swims on its own. So, you got the skunk ape down there in Everglades with a 4-toe track. This thing here Now, if you could look how long that track is, the back heel part is a lot longer than what an alligator would be.
That it is.
I've seen
It is
alligators
pretty
out
big.
there. You've seen the video. I've chased one across the road. I've seen them. They're out in the wild. As
Yeah,
far as some of the
these are
tracks,
alligator prints.
they could be misidentified as a possible, alligator, because there's alligators all over. But the fact whether this track or this track is actually the one from, whatever they've seen out there, that don't mean that this bipedal creature is a hoax or anything like that. There's too many witnesses, too many people seeing things. I've talked to people down there. They firmly believe in what they've seen. But a lot, some tracks, yes, they're probably alligators, misidentified.
Yeah.
But some of them, I believe, could be the web-toed primate.
Okay, my question, Matt, is have they found any human gigantic footprints, or are they all four-toed prints?
Well,
Like,
in the Honey Island area, they've all been the swamp like with the four-toed, with the little dewclaw. Same way in the Everglades. Out there in that aquatic area, they've got the similar, the four-toed tracks. Now, as you further go up, more of a Bigfoot type without the aquatic. Most of them are five-toed tracks. And
okay.
they're all over in Louisiana, like I said, all the way up
Oh,
to Caddo Lake, up in Texas, which I've been. And all this stuff links together. It's funny because everybody's like, oh, this area, it's like, well, you follow the Sabine River from top of Texas all the way down through Louisiana, and it goes all the way down through Louisiana. And you've heard of the Sabine thing. But a lot of these primates, these Bigfoot, whatever, most of them are in the water. A chimpanzee can, if they're unproportioned and it won't allow their body to, supposedly, if they're submerged in water, they'll sink or whatever, because their body's unproportioned. It won't allow them to float or whatever, swim. Like I said, gorillas, like us, we have got to be taught to swim. But these things, it was Dana Holyfield's dad had actually hit supposedly this Honey Island swamp monster. And in this boat, they was in a boat, and at nighttime, he thought he hit a log. And all of a sudden, it come up out of the water, and it was covered in hair, and it was submerged in the water. Like I said, there's been several witnesses talking about being around their campsite, taking off running, jumping into the water, and it was bipedal. And it jumped into the water, and they say it's covered in hair. So, most primates cannot swim. If you've ever been to any of these zoos or anything like that, most of your primates, they used to have this area up in Indiana where I grew up. It's called Columbian Park. And they had Monkey Island. It was surrounded with water. They didn't have no cage or anything. They were just on this island of water. Those monkeys were not getting that water. So what we're dealing with is something totally different than your usual primate.
Oh, yeah. It totally does. Okay, well, let's go back to Dana's, is it her grandfather or her father?
Yes, Harlan Ford.
Harlan. Okay, so the first claim... He did. Okay, so the first sighting, the claim sighting was in 1963 by Harlan Ford, a retired air traffic controller who had taken up wildlife photography. After his death in 1980, a reel of Super 8 film showing the creature was found among his belongings. In 1974, Ford and his friend Billy Mills claimed to have found unusual footprints in the area, as well as a body of a wild boar whose throat had been gashed. Now, local lore, like I said, local lore tells of that train crash, a train crash that occurred, and they think that a monkey had escaped. Now, that could explain that proboscis monkey, if they had that monkey with the big nose, okay, that I showed. That could be what the origin was, but he. Yeah, but he's the first one that actually, they found some film that had a picture on it. I believe that this is a representation of that. I know this is like artistic. That's not the actual film footage there, but I've seen the film footage. If you type it in, I'm not going to show it, here tonight. But if you type in the Honey Island Swamp Monster on YouTube, that video will come up. Okay, it's all over the place. You can see it, and it really, to me, it just looks like what could be a skunk ape. I would classify it as looking like a skunk ape with the long, stringy hair, not gigantic, like 6 to 7 feet at the most, and dirty and stinky. Okay, stinky. If you're living in the swamp and you got long hair, you're gonna stink. Okay, just saying. Yeah. So I think that that's what I think. I think from just my observation, I think this is a skunk ape. Okay, but that's not in my data completely. Okay, so let's go over a little bit of the characteristics of this thing before I get into my data. Okay, so according to eyewitness accounts, the Honey Island monster is described as a humanoid creature about 6 to 7 feet tall with matted dark brown or gray hair, Matt. Now, is that common to have a Bigfoot or skunk ape with gray hair?
Now, why would you ask me that? I'm colorblind. You know that. It's got supposedly dark hair, gray hair.
True.
What stood out with this one, though, was the hair on its head had long hair. They said it almost reached the ground. So it could be like a human hair, you know. You remember the old country singer, Crystal Gale, that used to have hair all the way down. Picture that with the rest of her body covered in short gray hair. Is what I keep picturing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's supposedly, you know, more not the Patterson Gimlin type or skunk apish type, long hair kind of. But they said that the hair was long on its head, so which was very interesting.
Okay. Well, okay, so I think it sounds more like a skunk ape. And plus the fact that it's in the swamps, because we got David Shealy down there, the king of the skunk apes down in South Florida. And he has the skunk ape, is it the museum, I think, down there? He has the headquarters, and he's got some great footage of the skunk ape. And it's trotting around in a swamp. Now, do you know how dangerous that is to be? I know you do, Matt, to be trotting around a swamp and how hard that would be.
Okay. Where he had that video, I went to the location. He had that video, and like I said, I'm good friends with David, and if he's watching, hey, I'll holler at you when I plan on coming back down there. But as you go down into his area, because what he had video was more kind of orangutan-ish type, similar to my first encounter ever, and it's just not isolated that area, but the tracks are 4 toes. Now it was water out there where he had his encounter. Go out there, and he's like 6 foot something. I'm 5'10". That water was up; it would go up past my knees at that time of year, and I went there during the time of year he had his video. So this thing's running through this water, so it's got to have some sort of ability. You know, it definitely couldn't have been. You'd have to be superhuman to run through that water.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to tread through the briars and the dirt just where we go. You know, it's not swamp area, and we don't have anacondas up here in Georgia. Okay, pythons. Okay, we have a question from Abbott Hoffman. Did the natives know of it in the past? I don't know. I would assume they did. Do you know, Matt?
No, I know the Seminoles did with the skunk ape, but I'm not real sure about the ones that were right there around New Orleans. And because Honey Island is probably about 40 miles from New Orleans, so I'm not sure about the with the natives. But every single tribe has some sort of their form of a Bigfoot. So I would say yes. You know, every tribe has its own name for a Bigfoot, and they have it. They drew it on everything they've done. They documented it. So all the Indians knew about it. Social media wasn't a thing back then. They weren't talking amongst each other. You know, it was they had actually had a lot of encounters.
Oh yeah, I would assume that they know about that. They're familiar with that. Cat Chaser, thank you for that super sticker. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, I would assume they probably do know about it, but this didn't come to the forefront until the 1960s for sure with Mr. Harlan Ford, and that's Dana's grandfather. Okay, who you have spoken with in the past, and you guys had her on Scary Cast. That's a show that you co-host weekly, right? So, okay, all right. Well, so the thing, okay, so the Honey Island swamp monster has never been known to hurt anybody that we know of, but it has been known to be territorial. It's screamed and it's growled at people, from what I understand. So there have been no what do you call it? No reported maulings or anything like that. You know what I mean? So thank goodness it has not hurt anybody. Not yet.
Children in that area. You need to kind of look into that. So whether of course you're in the swamp, so anything could get somebody. But a lot of your key things in these areas is look at the missing people reports.
Oh, we talk about that a lot here on my channel. All those missing persons reports and the clusters of missing people. I did not even think to look tonight before the show about the missing persons cluster in Louisiana.
New Orleans has got lots. So.
Wow.
But you know that if you've been there, that whole area.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I bet. Especially with all those vampires, right?
I may have encountered a couple when I was down there.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, let's get into the data, and then I'm going to have you talk about your vampire experience if you've had some down there. Okay. Well, let's get into the data, because I did remote view this, and this is something that I did not too long ago. It was last month. This is one of my targets. It was in the pool of a whole bunch of different targets I was tasked with, and so for this one, I got to say this is a real creature, Matt. Because I did get a whole bunch of data on this Honey Island swamp monster, and so what the data suggests is that this is something that is from this planet. Okay, so I'm not going to go over all the data. I'm just going to go over the main parts of this. So whatever I was remote viewing is terrestrial, which means it's from this planet. I wrote down ultra terrestrial and terrestrial. And I actually have in my data, I wrote down aquatic species, and I wrote down specifically aquatic Bigfoot. Okay, aquatic Bigfoot. So if anyone is wondering, like, is this some kind of weird reptilian hybrid Sasquatch? No, I don't think so. Because according to the data, I do believe this is just an aquatic Sasquatch of some kind, because it says Bigfoot, aquatic Bigfoot. And I did pick up it was a solid, whatever I was remote viewing was solitary. So that means that I don't think there's a ton of them in there. I think it says solitary, Matt. What is that even possible? Because usually if there's one Bigfoot, there's a bunch, right?
Well, it just depends. I mean, if the population is very small, and I'm not going to get into the whole government cover up hunting things, stuff like that.
Why not? That's a good topic.
But, when I've been front and center on the Smithsonian Institute, known for covering stuff up, I try to tone it down a little bit whenever I'm on these shows. But, yeah, I'll just be honest. You'll never, all these people out there bigfooting, you think you're going to prove it to the world? Forget it. Forget it. The only way you're going to prove a Bigfoot is real to the world is if Big Brother allows it. My best advice, tell somebody rich if you find a body, walk out into the sunset with your money, let them get confiscated, all that stuff. That's a different story. But as you were talking about that one area, yeah, we usually hear reports of one that has gone rogue. You ever notice that? There's usually one terrorizing family. That's where it usually goes into the thing, and you'll have all these news reports first start hitting on it, then all of a sudden it disappears. So, Honey Island swamp monster, you don't hear nothing about it like you did back in the 60s, 70s. They still got the folklore, still people seeing stuff, but nothing like it was whenever it was being seen, prominent back in the 60s, 70s. But a lot of people won't talk about it because, a lot of it's taboo, stuff like that. A lot of locals, but I've never heard any reports of that one specifically being aggressive or anything like that. But yeah, They say, like, I think in the Everglades, like, I think David Shealy, he predicts like 8 or 10 being, you know, in that area. So that's where you could come up with these 4 toes, these weird tracks. They could be inbred. They could be so.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Foxy Joe, thank you for that super sticker. I appreciate that. Yeah, so yeah, okay. So there, for people in the audience tonight that aren't familiar with aquatic Sasquatch, we do have aquatic Sasquatches, and I don't mean like they live in the water, but they're able to swim apparently, just like we are. But what Barry's in the chat tonight, Barry Littleton, he's done a video on that. So you guys go to his channel and check out his aquatic Sasquatch video. It may be on his Patreon actually, so you might need to join his Patreon to see it. But he talks about how that when they're seen swimming, they don't ever use their arms; they're just using their feet, just like Michael Phelps, man, with his big feet swimming. So go figure, right? But anyways, yeah, we do. There is a flying Sasquatches. Oh gosh. Oh yeah. Okay, so we got the bat squatch. I don't know if the bat squatch has been seen in Louisiana though. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll talk about it in a minute. Okay, so to get back to the target, to finish this up. Okay, so I picked up that something, whatever I was remote viewing has been shot at before. Like people actually go out there and have shot at it, unload on it, and that's part of the reason it's so elusive, according to my data, is that it's been targeted. Okay, but I also picked up on something very interesting, Matt, that the government. Okay, so I talked about this last week about a target that I had that involved a government cover up, but the government is watching these cryptids out there, and they're watching their every move. Now, this is actually the target that I was talking about last week on the Alaska target that I did. I was picking up on a whole lot of wildlife, like snake. I wrote down snakes, wildlife, trees, water, wildlife, Mother Nature. But I picked up on a facility. Okay, so like a lot of these targets that I do, Matt, I'd stumble upon like a secret facility, like an underground facility potentially. And it was something that has to do with government. And I actually heard, as I stumbled upon this facility as I was remote viewing, I heard the Watchers. Okay, the Watchers. I wrote down being watched. And then I got this weird download, right? I don't usually, I mean, I get downloads, but like I got this really weird download. And I heard all cryptids are monitored and studied. Nothing is unknown at this point. And I actually wrote that on my target when I was doing this. And that was pretty much the end of the target, because I had picked up, so the target flat out says this is a Sasquatch, it's aquatic, and it is watched and monitored, and all cryptids are watched and monitored. I got that blatantly in this target, Matt. Now, would that make sense? Do you believe that all cryptids could be known about, or pretty much, not all, but a lot?
Absolutely. And you know who's also monitored? The people that hunt them out and know the truth.
Me, probably. You, me, and you, yeah. And but you know what? It's part of what we do, right? Are you worried at all? Are you worried about being monitored?
No, I know. Anybody, if you talk to me on telephone, my daughter can tell you, my girlfriend Jamie can tell you, anybody that talks to me on telephone all the time, they can tell when something is going on. First thing my daughter said, that somebody's listening. I'm in the Smithsonian Institute magazine, July 2018 edition. Did I interview you for that? No. I Google my name and find it. Who's most known for cover-up? Smithsonian Institute. So yeah, being watched. You know, I don't know if there's certain words that trigger things or whatever, but I mean, you know, we're all monitored one way or another, but I think some more than others. So.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mentioned occasionally I have gotten a proverbial knock at my door. Okay, but I don't ever go into detail on that. It was a gentle reminder to keep my mouth shut on a particular target. But Matt, it had to do with the Apollo 11 moon landing. It wasn't even a cryptid. So what's up with that? It makes you wonder, right? Because like of all the things that we talk about, we're uncovering the mysteries. We're exploring the mysteries of all these cryptids, but yet the one that got the attention of whoever was the moon landing. So
Supposed moon landing.
Supposed moon landing. I stand corrected. Yeah, the supposed, and that's kind of. I guess I was told to keep my mouth shut. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that happened. Okay, so from this target, everyone, to all the audience tonight, and oh my gosh, thank you, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, and for that super sticker. I appreciate that. For everyone who's watching tonight, and everyone who's listening, yes, the remote viewing data does suggest that this target is an aquatic. It's a Bigfoot that can swim. Okay, it's a Bigfoot. So there is a Bigfoot there now. As far as the tracks being disproved, some of them could potentially be alligator tracks. Could you agree to that, Matt?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Some of them could be alligator tracks. There are a lot of alligators, but I would think from being a seasoned swamp a man who lives on the bayou, he would know the difference between alligator tracks and something else, right?
Absolutely. And there was a point where supposedly somebody had shown a shoe with that track on the bottom of it. Now, these people were out to say, oh, this guy is not legit, blah, blah, blah. But as we know as researchers, anytime you expose the truth, they've got to do something to counter it. That's why they make a mockery of all these, if you ever look at these Bigfoot reports, stuff like that, do they ever put these real intelligent people on there? No. They find the most backwoods person they can to make a mockery. They put them out there so people will laugh. These people are crazy. They make a mockery. And me and you both know we work with highly intelligent people, professional people. They have all kinds of stuff to do. Of course, they come. But the way everything is set up, they bring this stuff out to counter react what you were saying, if there's any truth to it. And perfect example, New Orleans, talking about the haunted tours. I'm down there hunting vampires. People think vampires are real. I'm not talking about the energy draining vampires. I'm talking about real blood sucking vampires. First thing I noticed on the haunted tours were, okay, you've got an area, they want to bring in revenue. So what are they going to do? They're going to hype up everything, correct? I mean, that's the first thing they're going to do, hype up all these ghost stories, bring more people in. You know which one they tried to steer away from? Vampire. Yeah. They tried to say, oh, yeah, this Earthling convent, that's where supposedly they first originated. They try and steer you away from that, the truth, basically.
Okay, so I did a show. It hasn't aired yet, but I recorded. I'm always working, y'all. I'm always doing a show with somebody, and I recorded a show with my friend Bryce this afternoon. She and my new friend Derek. He lives right at the LBL. Okay, right at the land between the lakes, and they wanted me to come on to talk about the beast of the land between the lakes, and I had remote viewed the beast of the land between the lakes a long time ago, and I've done shows on it, and I've talked extensively on what my data talked about for that attack on the family of 4 that was out there, and what the beast of LBL actually is. And so we got into that today, and I had forgotten that in my data, okay, because I went through all my data again today, it's all about occultism and conjuring cryptids and stuff. And I have Cryptidville in the chat. He actually also lives near the LBL. He's in the chat tonight. We've done a show on this before where we talk about how people conjure cryptids. And I assume that's what's going on in New Orleans with all of the voodoo and the rituals. Not saying that's the only way they get there, the only way these cryptids are there, but that's a big thing. And yeah, I mean, they can be pretty devastating, actually. Like, and I talk a lot about also like the battlefields and the bloodshed and all the cryptids that might be coming through portals there on those battlefields from all that bloodshed. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would assume it causes a portal to open. What do you think?
Well, okay. I don't believe in ghosts. You know that. I believe in, if you've ever studied the Donald House over in England.
Studied the what? Wait, man, I'm sorry.
House.
I couldn't hear you.
Dawdleston House. It's over in England.
Yeah.
Okay. 1985, these people had a computer. They're getting messages on this computer from the year, like back in the 1400s. And you're getting also messages from the year 2109. So, internet wasn't then in 1985. But yet, these people, their consciousness was in that same area. This man in the 1400s was there at the same area as the people in 1985, as well as people in 2109. 2109 was messaging the people in 1985 that they were a gas form. So, that would be us more in our higher being, our higher self in the future. The people from the 1400s. So, in this one area, they had all this poltergeist stuff going on in 1985 in this house. Now, there's actually a book on all this. If you look, all the stuff is interacting. It's all happening right then. So the veil is very thin. So you got timelines overlapping for consciousness. So we're talking right here, right now, but yet this conversation, a different conversation is happening in the same area, same place, in a different time frame. So in these areas, certain areas, I believe stuff is crossing over. So time is non-existent. I could go down a complete rabbit hole with that. But so a lot of these things, they might be getting caught over from different time periods. If you ever look at the what do they call it? The oh God, I can't even think of the prehistoric man, the Neanderthals. You look at their the way they are described is exactly identical to a Sasquatch.
Mhm.
Some
Wild
of those
man.
getting caught over in this time loop. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, that's right. Well, we have all those wild man reports from the 1800s and all the early 1900s. We have wild man reports in the newspaper clippings, newspaper articles, Matt, all over, especially around here. I mean, you live up in Virginia, so we got Virginia, Tennessee. We got the Tennessee wild man, the Kentucky wild man. We got the Florida Ocheesee Pond wild man. There are wild men everywhere, and they're described as looking like Neanderthals, and that is just a caveman looking human with hair all over him or her, I guess. So not as hairy as the typical Sasquatch, though, but they do classify those as a type 4 Sasquatch.
Yeah. I never believed in like the whole time thing, overlapping, but I'm not sure. But you get a lot of these. If we got enough time, I'll tell real quick. North Carolina, Tennessee borderline. You got all kinds of crazy stuff going on there. That's where you get a lot of these feral humans, going on.
Yeah.
I had went, it was 2020. I had went there around Christmas, right before Christmas time. And I was with my family, and we went to the Cataloosa Valley, which is just across Tennessee line. So you got all these wild, like the third down from the evolution chart, like type humans, these feral humans that are being seen in that area. Okay, I get down there in Cataloosa Valley, and I got pictures, everything prove it. I get out of the vehicle, I start taking pictures. My pictures, they're snapping normal. I got bear on video, I got elk, I got everything. Right? And I'm really excited. My dad's out of the vehicle, he's taking pictures. My mom is still in the vehicle. So as I get back, as I'm taking more pictures, I look and the time on my phone had changed and the date. And I thought that was weird. I was like, that's weird. Why is my time and date changed on my phone? I physically start getting sick. My dad is physically sick. He's outside the vehicle. My mom's perfectly fine. We get out of that area. I mean, I'm like vomiting. He's vomiting. We get out of that area. We start back. When I go back and look at my pictures, nothing that I took a picture of was there. You take a picture on your phone, right there at the date, time, gallery, it's boom, 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 right? Nothing's there. Of course, I'm upset. I was like, man, I posted these bear and this elk and got all these cool pictures, nothing there. But so I go back, start looking through my gallery, and it went back in time. So in August, it was August 24, something like that. From Christmas till all the way August the past year, the time had changed. It was weird because my phone recognized it that time of day, and it had changed. All my pictures went back to that time. I was physically sick. So my question is something getting caught in between these time frames? You know,
Oh,
it opened up totally my eyes to something totally different. That's when I started looking into the Dawson House. You got the a computer, 1985 Dawson House. Look it up. It had all kinds of crazy stories going on there. But time doesn't exist, you know. So
not when we're out in the field doing our research. And we actually do
No.
time experiments out there because Matt, you and I both research out at the Meadow with Anomalous Studies and Observation Group and all the crews that come out there. We're like a smorgasbord of Bigfoot and alien UFO researchers and stuff, cryptid researchers, and we'll do time experiments and stuff and take briefcases with clocks and timers and all this kind of stuff and put it out there and then come back later to see if it's changed and if it's off kilter a little bit and stuff. So we're doing all sorts of weird experiments we don't even really talk about usually, just to take the baseline readings and then seeing what is off a little bit, because there's just so much high strangeness, and that is a place where I do believe the dimensions like cross or something. There's some kind of dimensional cross there, something weird. That's where that cube showed up. That's where the portal was. We have a lot of activity out there. And so, I mean, I don't even know. I assume that the meadow is like right on top of a ley line. Some ley lines aren't it? Is it? Like, I don't even know.
I'm not sure, but whenever I talked to a professor out of Iowa, he was talking about portals. And he said, for a portal to open, this is what you got to have. They can't predict it, but you got to have the magnetic field's got to be like at 0, and you got to have a huge energy burst like a solar flare. So, of course, anytime we have activity, of course, there is a huge spike in radiation. So, we're out in the meadow, and Trey brings out his compass. It's that kind of weird, and I'm like, hey, the magnetic field's off. I said, that way's north. He's like, well, how do you know? I'm like, well, the sun rises in the east, it sets in the west. I said, so therefore, northern hemisphere, you're going to have more moss grow on the north side of everything. Southern hemisphere, the opposite. So he's like, wow, I didn't, you didn't quite realize it gets less sunlight. I said, so that way it's north. So we get the map, he looks and it's north. And he looks at his compass, which is off the Earth's magnetic field, and it's off. So that tells you right there, the meadow, something is off the magnetic field. And of course, we have the cube, which brings up big questions because if a portal opens, Native Americans, everybody talks about it, spirals within spirals. This was geometrically shaped into a cube. So a third party has created this this cube, this portal. So
yeah,
I could go down the whole rabbit hole.
No, Matt, I 100% feel like that was something that was, dare I say, man-made. Okay. Like, I feel like it was some sort of technology, and this is my opinion.
You ever seen the movie Hellraiser?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay. What opens up the portal to hell?
Oh my God. It's like a box. Yeah.
Yeah, a little cube. Kind of like the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, cubes are everywhere. Like, we've got the black cube of Saturn and like the cube of Mecca, the black cube of Mecca, I think is what it's called. Like, there's all sorts of these cubes are everywhere. And I don't know. I mean, Barry's in the chat tonight. He and I talk about it a lot.
Those are actually third-party entities that create for it to be symmetrical.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think maybe talking about the cube and the portal, I think that, I mean, there could be like some, what do you call it? Like when you take like the ET technology and then we back engineer it or whatever, like we're taking that technology and we're using it, and and I don't know. I mean, you got to consider too, like who walked into that portal too. Um,
Hmm.
they could have been targeted. You
Exactly.
were you there that night of the night of the portal?
No, but I've watched the video. I've watched
Yeah, we've seen the video,
what there's
of
two
course.
videos. Yes,
Yeah.
I've seen the video and I've been to that area. You know, I've been out there. We've been out there, and we always have. You know, the energy is off there. You got things happening to our vehicles. We've got
Right.
battery being drained. You can put a camera in one spot, and it's completely 80%, and all of a sudden, boom, you bring it back out to another area, and 100% charge. So we know the magnetic field there is off completely. You know, uh, so all this stuff that's going on. Like everybody always wants to go, okay, they want to describe a Bigfoot as a Bigfoot. Okay, what is a Bigfoot? People are like, you know, everybody in the Bigfoot community argue and fight over what is a Bigfoot, and they have no clue really. There are so many different species of things that are bipedal hairy. You've got an alien type. You've got things that could be something from the past crossing over. You know, you've got all kinds of different beings that everybody classifies as Bigfoot because it's bipedal hair.
Yeah. Yeah, there's also, and the fact that you brought up that proboscis monkey tonight, I think that is a great link. That may be the missing link to what the Honey Island swamp monster could be. It could be some sort of another type of Sasquatch that has some sort of relation to that. I mean, we got a hyena, dog man, and we got the patty. I mean, we got, that's a dog man, by the way, but like there's different characteristics that we describe with, in relation to animals that we know of. Okay. Is kind of where I'm going with that. And we have different types of Sasquatch. Like, let's see if I have, let me see if I have the chart here. Um, I have the chart. Let me take this comment down. Okay, we'll go back to that comment. But we have like the type 1, 2, 3, and 4, and some of them look more chimpanzee-like. Some look more, um, ape-like, primate-like, caveman-like. Some look like humans. Okay, they look humans, like a mix between a gorilla and a human. So why not have one that looks like a proboscis or proboscis, whatever that name is, one of those monkeys? Because that's what the footprints look like. Now, I specifically remember Bob, our good friend, Bob Grumpy Wilson, who passed away a couple weeks ago. Bob always talked about a three-toed print that he had found, and so there are other beings out there, that have three-toed, like I guess the lizard man, right? You've done some research on the lizard man escape or swamp, right?
Yeah, yeah, I've done research, but a three-toed track a lot of times is associated with the devil.
It'll be
A
a
lot of
what?
people don't
I'm sorry, I
realize
couldn't.
that. That's more like a lot of people think of it as a dogman type creature, but it's more
Dog.
baboon-like. And it's 1934. Look up Pittsburgh, Tennessee. They had a huge outbreak of these devil monkeys that were crazy, had tails, they're jumping all over everything. They tried to hunt them down. You've got so many different beings, so many different creatures out there. You talk about the skunk case. What I had seen up in northern Indiana, what totally changed my life, my whole encounter, looked like more orangutan type than it did patty or anything like that. 2003, I'm in Campbell County, La Follette, Tennessee, investigating. All their sightings, all over the news for 2 weeks straight. Everybody said it looked like a skunk or an orangutan. Government goes in there. Supposedly, I interviewed a woman said they killed it, that they went in and killed it. And they said they wanted them gone, and they were a nuisance. So, if you've got this, and they had a picture of Patty, and they had a picture of the skunk ape from the Mayaca skunk ape. The picture, the famous one that where the woman turned into the police department down there in Florida. Well, it all looks like a orangutan. What I had encountered up in northern Indiana looked like an orangutan. What they had seen, probably about 40 miles from where I'm at right now, in La Follette, Tennessee, looked like all the residents had looked like an orangutan. You got the same thing in southern Florida, possibly in Louisiana, but I believe they're different species, different creatures. We all know that, we've had different reports of them, UFO sightings, whole alien connection. Perfect example, 1976, Fayette County, Pennsylvania. There was 276 sightings of UFOs, all related in one county, 1 year. So different beings, different type of things, but everybody wants to classify it.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a connection between UFOs and Bigfoots as well. I'm pulling up this picture of the skunk ape that you're referring to, because this is something that people, I've heard a lot of people disprove this picture and say, well, this is just a picture of it was actually an orangutan at the zoo, or an orangutan that actually escaped the zoo, and people are very matter of fact about this is not real. This is from the zoo. Okay, but you're saying this could be potentially a real skunk ape.
Yes, that I witnessed something very similar to that, but it was skinnier. Now, a lot of people said, "Oh, it was a mask. It was this or that." Look at the reflective eye shine. Humans don't have reflective eye shine. Most primates don't have reflective eye shine.
No, I have
the reflective eye shine.
I see it 100%.
So that right there, most primates don't have that. Most animals do, but most primates do not have a reflective eye shine.
Yeah. Okay, well, sometimes we talk about the self-illuminating eye shine. We talk about the reflective eye shine. Okay, so this is more reflective, not self-illuminating.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. You bring light in. The tape elucidum is what reflects it out. Okay. Now, if it was reflective eye shine, you shine light on it, whatever, the light is reflecting back to you. Now, if they have self-illuminating eye shine, this is what's interesting. The host would be blind. They would not be able to see if the way the eyeball is made up. Now, the different colors in the eye shine is made up by the different minerals in the subject. So you can have different, eyeballs. I've been working on trying to figure out, what the different minerals, what would make up the different minerals in the eye, what would it be diet? Would it, hereditary?
Mm-hmm.
What? But I haven't been able to get a whole lot of info on that yet, because that would help break down, if it was diet, we'd know where to look for certain type of eye shine, certain type of beings, but it's mineral makeup in the eye that determines the different color. But if it's self-illuminating, then the host would be blinded. They would not be able to see. So you or me or whatever, we could, do that with our eyes. We would not be able to see the way our eyes think.
Wow.
Whether these things have something else that's around them, or like an electric eel or something, but it's not the actual eyeball itself, or it could be something else like a drone, something that is placed there to observe, But as far as the way our eyes are made up and animal eyes are made up, the host would be blinded if it's self-illuminated.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, I want to kind of go back a little bit, because you had mentioned something about cryptids being hunted down. You mentioned this earlier? It seems like being hunted down by agencies or governments or something like that. I mean, can we talk about that for just a minute? Because some of the guys on our team, and probably yourself included, have experienced people coming out of the woods dressed in like SWAT gear. Okay. And when they were asked, I know Bob had a story that he would tell us pretty often about a place somewhere down here in the South, I think it was a national forest, where They were out doing some Bigfooting, and a guy walks out in full SWAT gear with a gun, bulletproof vest, and all this stuff. And they asked, like, what are you doing here? And he said, I'm doing the same thing you're doing. Okay, so is there some kind of program that you know of? Like, are they going out and eradicating some of these cryptids? Are they hunting them down? Are they keeping an eye on them? Because that was in my data that they are.
Well,
What do you think?
I believe they are. I mean, anything that has been legit, they will go in, they will take down. And Smithsonian Institute, we all know they cover up all the bones of giants, right? And all of a sudden, you know, you can't, oh, we put them in this vault, but there's some kind of, I don't know, whether they say mold or something that's toxic, you can't get in there. And all of a sudden, they don't know where the bones are. And if you look back at the history of Smithsonian Institute, that is way back with the Rockefeller, all the elite people. And whenever I was in Campbell County, La Follette, Tennessee, 2 weeks straight, they had on the news. They had these people talking about this skunk. It was terrorizing the area. They would put the craziest people on there. They would, I mean, I've got a huge Southern accent. You can hear that. But these people,
I'm just kidding.
Totally uneducated. They grabbed them, they pulled them out there. They were like, you know, they put this woman on there, make a mockery of it. She was like, you know, it was throwing a kitten at me. It took a dump in my yard and all this stuff, right? And they had them on the news. If you go back there right now and look, it's all taken down. Click on the link from the news site. Not available. Not available. All of it. Me, of course, you know, I live close to the area. I had guys that worked for me that lived in that area. So they were like, man, something's going on here. You know, we've got black helicopters and all this stuff. So I start going into the Follette and I'm asking people, I'm talking to these people that are supposed witnesses and stuff. And I met this one lady at the IGH, little grocery store there in Campbell County. And she tells me that she said that the sheriff of that area, of Follette, Tennessee, knocked on her door, and these guys supposedly claimed as BFRO members had said, hey, you know, keep all your animals inside. And she said that she's like, what are you doing? She's like, we're going to get rid of these things. And she said, why? She said, the sheriff said, these are a nuisance. And these guys were dressed out like SWAT gear. They were, you know, clearly weren't BFRO. And so she goes inside, she hears shooting, looks out back, she sees something black fall to the ground in the middle of the field. And she said it was taken out by a black helicopter. The guys that worked for me that lived in that area, they came to me and told me, hey, there were black helicopters flying around all day long today, you know. And I've had an encounter, so I know how to think. You got this PTSD that really messes with you. So when I interview these witnesses, I can tell if, you know, something has happened that has changed their life, you know, their whole energy level, everything changed. This woman, she believed what she had told me. You could tell, you know, she wasn't trying to get nothing out of it, anything like that. She was concerned, you know, why are they doing this? What's going on? And so after that, she told me they went in, hunted it, killed it. I started getting weird phone calls. And this was back in 2003, right? So, and then around 2012, the same area, a man came forward, and it was a Labor Day weekend. I can't remember 2012 or 2015. I'd have to go back and look. But in Campbell County, Tennessee, he said that he was attacked by this. It wasn't a bear. He said it had long black coarse hair, and he had over 200 some stitches. 6 o'clock in the morning, he showed up and the hospital or whatever, and he had to get, you know, medical care. He said he was attacked by the animal, and they tried to say it was a bear attack. So, and he showed the picture, he opened up his shirt, he had sliced up, I mean, over 200 something stitches, completely covered. He said it was not a bear. It had long, black, coarse hair. It was not a bear that attacked it. So I go back and I start looking into where did this event happen? And it was on College Station Road. 2003. Where were all these sightings of this skunk? I bet you can't guess. College Station Road.
Oh.
So I look back then and I'm like, okay, so what happened? You know, what happened with this guy or whatever? And all of a sudden, case has been thrown. You know, it was a what they call it, a false report. But yet we seen the pictures of the guy all cut up. They never said who cut him up, sliced him up, whatever attacked him. They never said that. They said it's a false report.
Well, I thought they were saying that it was insisting it was a bear. Okay,
they tried to say it was a bear, but then they said it's a false report. So it makes no sense. But yeah,
well, it makes sense to me.
Up, you know.
Yeah. Well, he was cut up by something, and that's something that I look into a lot here on the channel are unspecified animal attacks, and especially what did you say that was in Tennessee?
Yes, Campbell County. You can Google it and look it up.
Where?
You'll click on links to the news, and it's totally gone. And they had a picture of Patty, and that same picture you just posted from the Mayaca skunk cave. All the witnesses said it looked like a skunk cave. And I've been in that area, researched it plenty of times. A lot of weird stuff going on. Light coming from the mountains, just like brown mountain light.
You say Campbell County?
Yeah, Campbell County. Look up.
Okay, I'm going to pull up this picture. All right, well, the audience is not going to be shocked at where this is, okay? Because I talk a lot about East Tennessee, okay? And I'm going to be actually going to a Squatch out in September. Matt, you should come with us. We're going to be at a place called Sasquatch Farms with, let's see, Wayne Thothrow of Manimal Research. And we're going to be doing a fun little camp out that weekend. But we're going to be in East Tennessee, and this is where they've had unspecified animal attacks that I actually, there's Daryl. Hey, Daryl, he's on our team. So we had, there's unspecified animal attacks of Amber Ship and Tony Aarons. When I remote viewed both of them, the data as to what attacked both of them was a zombie bear. That was in my data. It wasn't a bear, but it looked like a bear, but it wasn't a bear. Okay, and so I can't believe that this is exactly what you're describing, the area that you're describing this in, because this is the same area where they both died on the same road about a month or two apart from each other from something that looked like a bear, but it wasn't a bear. Well, and actually the actual report said it was a pack of wild dogs. Okay, but the hospital, the legal staff, the family, everybody was put under a gag order to never talk about it, about what actually happened to them. Okay, so this is where Campbell County is. Okay, that's where that red dot, that's over kind of in East Tennessee. Okay, so that's not far from where these reports of all these unspecified animal attacks are coming from.
Now, see, in the county I live in, you know, Lee County, Virginia. It's right up in the corner there. You look, I'm right in the tri-state area. Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia all meet. Of course, I've talked about it on other shows, stuff that a lot of activity in this area. Wildlife preserve, why there's one here, we have no clue. But I do. A lot of reports in that area. This Appalachian mountain totally, completely covered up with crazy stuff. The oldest mountains in the world, so they say, well, the second, but the other set of oldest, if you look before the whole Pangea thing and everything broke up, same mountain range.
Yeah, well, that's where we do most of our research. I mean, it's where I do most of my research. They're up in the Appalachians, and there's so many different cryptids, so much weirdness, high strangeness. What's up, Cryptid Warfare? We got Drewski in the chat tonight. Now, Drewski, who's on the screen right now, this is who I went to Tennessee with to do the investigation up in the caves. Matt, where I went and we had the skinwalker investigation up there in that on that Choctaw land. So
Hmm.
good times.
No,
Let
I've
me
had
tell you,
my
that was scary.
experience. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I got the Fortmans in the chat too. That's a good question. This is Coco. Is it really legal to gag order private citizens over a death in the family? Well, she wasn't dead at the time when they did that. Amber Miller actually she lived for at least 5 days after the attack, but she lost a large percentage of all the flesh off of her body. And so I don't know if she was actually talking at the time to describe what happened to her, but
that's the
yeah,
one in North Carolina or in Georgia.
this was in East Tennessee where this happened. It was in Cook County or Cook County.
Oh, okay.
I think
Okay, that's one
I think
over
it's
by Newport, Tennessee, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know my geography of Tennessee very well. But it's in East Tennessee. It's kind of East Tennessee. It's not too far from, and I made this connection. It's not too far from Oak Ridge Labs.
Yeah. Now there is a professor, they were testing in 2012, running nuclear energy down a tube with magnets that trying to create mirror universe. You know that, correct?
No.
No, I've got the professor's name, phone number, and email, but like I said, that's a different story. Yeah, the government is totally involved in it. They know what's going on.
Whoa.
They want us to be part of it. No, but a lot going on outside the scene. The world is not as it seems.
Yeah, we live in a weird world. Okay, it's Cott County. That's how you pronounce it. Thank you, Kyle. That's where those two attacks happened, and the two people did pass away, unfortunately.
On the
And
same road, wasn't it?
on the same road, yeah, it was kind of blamed on some Corso dogs, I think.
That's the dog my daughter had.
Yeah, they're big dogs. They're bred. They're like Presa Canarios, kind of. They're kind of bred to eat people. Okay, so they're an easy culprit, or like just to be blamed. But I don't think that's what got either of them. I
No,
believe it was a large
it's
animal.
always a wild dog or a bear attack. So if you ever hear me getting killed by a bear attack, it wasn't a bear attack. I found what I was looking for, and I never commit suicide. So you know, just let that be known for the record.
Okay. Well, we know that, Matt, and you were actually pretty brave to put out that video at the Georgia Bigfoot conference. Can I make the announcement here just to tell people that you're the
Yeah.
one? Okay, so I talk about that video all the time. So Matt here is my friend who has the video of the orb shooting past the camera in somebody's backyard, and it turns into an alien and runs around the yard. It turns back into an orb, and then it shoots past the camera again. I can't stop talking about it. That's Matthew Delph, the badass monster hunter, that has that video, y'all. So thank you for releasing that, man. I think it's wonderful that you did that. I think it's time to really, let's put it all out there. You know what I mean? So I think you did a great thing by doing that.
Well, the whole thing of it is I made a promise to the person that made it. A lot of people know who if Angela is here. She was MUFON State Director of Tennessee, 2019 investigator of the year. So a lot of people I worked with her, being great friends, best friends, whatever you want to call it. We worked together. We were a great team. Her and the whole UFO alien stuff. Me and the Bigfoot, we crossed everything over. Hey, there's something going on. It's all together, And they always try and keep it separate, but it's not. It's all linked together. Everything is linked together. And the whole video, she had these witnesses, and she had always promised people they didn't want to be known that she would not tell who they are, anything like that. Had these people that had some weird stuff going on in their backyard, set up cameras. So her video evidence, I filmed over with, I videoed over her video. So I'd have a copy of myself. And we got that crazy footage. What it is, couldn't tell you, but it's definitely eye-opening. That's all I can say. And I made her a promise, I would never say who it is, the witnesses, stuff like that. And of course, she's passed away. So, my loyalty to her is definitely, I got to keep it there. I might show the video here or there, certain people, but I'll never take it public because I promised her.
Yes. Okay, so for anyone, if anyone, just by any chance, if the audio was a little crackly, so it was from Matt's friend, Angelia Shear, who was with, I think it's Tennessee MUFON, right? She was with MUFON, and she did pass away. Yeah, you were breaking up when you were talking about it, but it's okay, it happens. But she was with Tennessee MUFON, and she passed away, and Matt had made a promise to her to not give all the information out about this video, because what we're doing here is quite dangerous. Okay, and that's the truth. And this video can answer a lot of questions, and be the missing link for a lot of things that we talk about today. And so, so Matt, just like the portal video that our team has, it's only shown at conferences in person. So that's the same as what you're doing, Matt, is showing it at a conference in person, not to exploit it all over the internet. Okay, basically, is very understandable. So I hope that the audience will understand that. Once things get out and get online and get on the web, it's crazy. Okay, so yeah, so I'm just glad you showed it, and we can talk about it now at that conference. So thank you. I've been asking you to do that for a while. I'm like, come on, man, just do it.
Bring it on here and show it. And I was kind of like, nah, better not. But
man, I would love that.
You know me, I know. I'm loyal. I made that promise, and I'm all loyal to my word.
Oh yeah. Well, you guys will have to come to a Bigfoot conference. It's more of a reason to come see us in person. Okay. Absolutely. And yes, it's fair use. It's fair enough. Totally understand and respect privacy, for sure. But we'll show it, and it's not totally private showings because it's out in the public when we do these conferences. Okay. So absolutely. Well, Matt,
government already has it. So.
Well, according to my target tonight, the government knows everything about these cryptids. And so there's really nothing they don't know, but it's a matter of the information getting out to the public, I guess, is what the problem is. I mean, I don't know why I got targeted there for that one target that I did about the moon landing. I mean, so many people are talking about these things already. Why was I going to be an issue? You know what I mean? So, but I have a healthy dose of respect.
That's the thing. Okay, that's what I've learned. You read that article about me and Smithsonian Institute. David Bellotti says 411 missing. He will never put what he thinks it is. That's up to the audience. Same way with me. I know what I've seen. I know what I've witnessed. I'm not researching to prove it to the world. I'm wanting answers for myself. And they strictly tell you that in the magazine article. They emphasize that. I mean, it is right on there. They're like, he's not trying to prove it to the world. To them, it's all about exposure. They don't want the exposure. They don't want to open Pandora's box.
Too late for that.
Think about it though. We're programmed from birth. What happens if you don't go to school and learn their programming? Get thrown in jail, right? Truancy, you're not going to school, not learning their program.
Yeah, but my son Matt, he's always like, Mom, school is just a children's prison. You're sending me to prison every day. So he's got a good point though. Okay.
He does. I mean, they're forcing this program on you. We are programmed to believe. I was total skeptic on all this stuff until I had my actual encounter, my eyewitness encounter. And it changed my life forever. And seeing is believing. And I'm pretty stubborn. And it had to be an aggressive encounter, had to push me to open up my eyes, put a chip on my shoulder. I had to, it chose me. I didn't choose this whole lifestyle. I needed answers after that. I don't care if you believe me or don't. I'm out there trying to look for answers for myself because I know now the world is not as it seems. Now, you go to school and they're pushing this and this happened, and if you don't send your kid to that school, you're going, we're going to throw you in jail, whatever, get in trouble. Well, and Ben, tell him I heard that video, so tell him, what was it? He said.
Okay. Let me set the record straight. Okay, because to the audience. Okay, so my son was interviewed on Scary Cast. Okay, that's Matt's show. Matt was actually not there that day about my son's Bigfoot encounter because he had a Bigfoot experience with me there and David Pardue and Don Tart. We were all four together and we all had a Bigfoot experience. And so my son was talking about it. And he loves Matt. Matt, he loves you. He really does. And I mean, he called Keith Kaepernick. He made up a new name for him on the show. Like he's got a mind of his own. He's obviously a free thinker. He's my son. Okay. But he loves you. And he said something about the bat. I said, yeah, we go out there with the badass monster hunter himself. And Ben joked around. He said, well, he's really not that badass, but he was kidding. He loves you. I promise.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like to aggravate him.
I know. You get him back.
Tell him how many people will chase an alligator across the road. How many people will chase a Bigfoot? Pretty badass.
You're badass. You are badass. Listen, you're super badass. You weren't holding my hand and squeezing it really hard when we were having that Bigfoot experience like he was. Okay. Don't tell him I said that. Okay. That was his first time though. So he was a little scared. Yeah. He wouldn't.
Oh, yeah. I like
yeah.
That. Yeah. He's
yeah.
Great. I like it.
Well, thank you. That was awesome. Oh, well, we have a question. Where can people find you, Matt? If I know you got a YouTube channel and you do Scary Cast, tell the audience kind of where they can find you, please.
All right, Facebook, of course. I mean, you can send me friend requests, whatever, but I'm pretty much I might be maxed out. I don't keep up with a whole lot of the numbers, but I've got a lot of people on Facebook. But of course, Macro, Mountain Empire Cryptid Research Organization. I will be coming up with a website in the near future. And what it's going to consist of is a little bit of everything. But you can find that Facebook group, ask to join, friend request on Facebook, because I'm not real big on social media. And Jamie, my girlfriend, she's like, dude, you've done so much stuff, but you never put it out there. You never do, So we're going to try and throw some of this stuff out there just because we're out here in this field and you got all these people that have experienced stuff, but they've never, they don't want to come clean. And a prime example was my daughter. Okay. She went to Indiana University. She had a paper report she had to do, and she interviewed all these people and she called it Believing in the Unbelievable. And she asked these people, hey, do you believe in Bigfoot, aliens? Now, if they were with a group of people, only 25% or less would say yes. When they were alone, over 85% had said yes, they believe it.
Ooh, that tells you people are peer pressured.
Exactly. So when I do these first reading, I started even talking about this stuff because all this research was for my own benefit. It chose me. I didn't choose it. It chose me. I had my encounter. I had the research. But the people I've learned at these conferences and stuff that I did, talking about this stuff, they start coming forward. You can see a relief when they're not ridiculed or made a mockery of. So I started doing this stuff. So I didn't put a whole lot out there. I mean, the people that know me know I'm out there in the field. I'm out there in the middle of the woods. I'm not an armchair researcher. I'm not doing none of that stuff. I'm out experiencing stuff myself.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But
that's where you get the most info. I mean,
oh yeah.
How are you going to listen to somebody that just wants to report other people's stories, then they claim as an expert? There is no expert in stuff. We know
that's right.
We go out. We tell what we've experienced. Whether you believe it or not, we don't care. This is our story. This is what we experienced. So, and that's where you get your most info. I mean, that's where you're getting all your data. I mean, you're taking data from here and there, and then you're hearing other people's reports about this and that. And you're like, wait, I've experienced it. And so, I mean, it's experience, you know. But find me on Facebook. I kind of got away from where we were going there. But find me on Facebook or, you know, YouTube channel, Badass Monster Hunter Matthew Delph, or in Macro, Mountain Empire
Okay.
Cryptid.
Yeah, you guys go to MECRO, Mountain Empire Cryptid Research Organization. Before we go tonight, we have one last question from Coco. You met Coco and John at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference. They're our friends that had the dogs in the stroller that were there.
Okay.
Yeah, you remember them. Okay, so
Yeah.
so they're asking if a group sees a Sasquatch, do they all see the same thing versus ghost apparitions? A group can see or hear different things. Now, that's like where some people see a squirrel and other people see a Sasquatch. You know, like we get reports about that sometimes.
Okay. Now, it depends. So, whenever you have an experience, like I like to, okay, for me, open up, we've all got different levels, got different dimensions, different vibrational frequencies people have. Prime example, there was a group on the beach, they've seen a huge UFO, there were 10 people out there, only 4 people seen it. All 10 of them looking at the same area, only 4 people seen it. So, as far as a Bigfoot, or whatever type being this is, if it comes to you, it depends on where you are vibrational frequency. For example, I had to have something, I'm pretty stubborn. Most people know me, I'm pretty stubborn. I had to have something totally life-changing happen to me to open up my different channels. I'm on channel 1. This event happened, it opened up channels 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm able to see different frequencies than what other people see. Yeah. So if Bigfoot appears to you, a lot of it depends on what type of Bigfoot it is. If it's a, you know, what the Native Americans used to call the forest people, the watchers, it's a high vibrational frequency. Only people on that level will be able to see it. You go to Mount Shasta, the Lemurians supposedly are the giants that are out there on Mount Shasta. Another place I will be hitting this summer. And people are seeing these giants, but only part of these people are seeing these giants because they will only allow certain people with certain frequencies to allow them to see them. Yeah. So, prime example, Davy Crockett going to the Alamo. A Bigfoot appeared to him, told him not to go. Then all of a sudden he disappeared. The other guy that was with him did not see him, only Davy Crockett. But he had it written down in his journal. He had seen this hairy covered beast that came to him, and then it just manifested, you know, gone. So it was for him to see his frequency. You know, he's this higher vibration, whatever you want to call it, you know. Yeah. Allowed him to see that. So you might not be able, me and you might be able to sit someplace and I could see a physical figure in front of me, but if we're not on the same levels, we might see 2 different things. Same way with time travel and all this other stuff the government used to do. They used to send people, if somebody didn't believe in Jesus, they would send them back to the past. They didn't believe in Jesus. Their consciousness, there was no Jesus back in the past. And that goes on to the whole Montauk Project, a bunch of stuff with that. But anyhow.
Project Pegasus, all those, a lot of these time traveling teleportation programs. Y'all, we cover it all on this channel. Okay, Matt, like I've covered all that stuff. So like my audience is totally into this stuff 100%. And it is all about your frequency, your vibration, and your energy. And so everybody keep your vibrations as high as possible. Come over here and have a good time with the Cryptid Huntress, Matthew Delph, the Badass Monster Hunter. We're over here throwing out the good vibes tonight. And having a good time, and I just love it, man. I've been wondering when you were going to come back on my show and come hang out with me. So thank you so much.
I told you, I promised you. I said
you promised me you would.
I said I would be on your show. So.
And you made good on your promise. So thank you. I hope you'll come back and see me again, and come hang out. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Well, you guys, please go to Mecro on Facebook and on YouTube. You're actually Matthew Delph over there. You guys go subscribe and the badass monster hunter. Okay.
Don't listen to Ben though.
Don't listen to my son. He'll tell you different. Okay. God, it's terrible. I'm sorry, Matt. That's too funny.
That's
all right, y'all.
I like that.
It is so funny. Okay. Well, you guys, please come back and see me this weekend. I will be here Saturday night. I've got a new Saturday night show here on the channel. I have Strangeology coming on Saturday night. We're going to be talking cryptids. I may or may not have a very special co-host that night too, but we'll see about that. And then I have Tom Althouse as my guest on Spaced Out Radio Sunday night. And he is the original creator of The Matrix. Okay. So this is going to be a wild and crazy weekend. Matt, I hope to see you out in the field soon. Okay, we'll go do some boots on the ground, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, give Jamie a big old hug for me. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see you out in the field. I was just out at one of our spots on Monday, and I might be going back this weekend for a little while. Okay. But Matt, you stay safe out there, and you guys have a wonderful night. Have a great weekend, and come back and see me Saturday night. All right, everybody. Have a great night. See you, Matt. Thank you.